How are you doing? Hi, Hot Mess. You're like perfect to get into our Hot Mess Express raid train. How are you? Hi, Holly. How are you? Welcome. We are going to play in the art room for a little bit. Um, Getting ready. Hi, Maria. How are you, love? Getting ready for the holidays is uber stressful, and I'm just going to take a little break. So busy cleaning. Yeah, we've been running around all day long. We just got home a few minutes ago. Um, we actually are celebrating with my family tomorrow, the holidays. So, yeah, but I didn't want to not show up because I don't have another show scheduled until I think Saturday. Rob and I's live thrifting. Um, but what I wanted to do, look, I've destroyed my nails, the whole situation. It's all good. If you are watching on YouTube, welcome. We're going to just be playing with some journals. I want to go through my thought process when I make journals, how I go about it, because I want to make a new journal for 2026 at the beginning of the year. I always make a journal for art journaling as well as writing and note taking. So it's kind of one of those, probably will not get into the full journal making today, but I want to give you my thought processes. So when we start doing it in January, you have an idea of what you want to do. Does that sound like a plan? Um, Realistically, you don't have to spend a ton of money to make a jewelry or to make a journal. Um, this one was literally made with my cleanup paper. Yeah. Hi, Ames. How are you, love? Welcome. This is the um, paper that was on my desk that I just kind of threw some stencils, some spray inks on, and I bound some pages in it. So this is just drawing paper. Did a little bit of stenciling and like legit, this is easy peasy. Gets even better. Remember me saying that I keep all of my baby wipes and my paper towels, my cleanup stuff when I'm doing spray inks. I actually took this, let me see if I can get it flip open, and good Lord, sorry, paint, they're all stuck together. But what I did, like, see, this is just all the paint splatters. I put down some tissue paper. Becca, Nay, and Forever Clay, Country Mama, welcome in. I literally collaged clean up paper towels and baby wipes on here. I put some of the tissue paper down, and with my sewing machine, I sewed in some pages. So, and this is all packing paper. These are not like paper papers. This is red rosin paper that I often put in your packages. Hi, Sharon. How are you, love? Hi, Lori. Welcome. So, what I do is I take the rosin paper and I gesso it. So it just gives you I know, bright color, even pinks. But just, these are all spray inks on a gessoed page. And this feels like suede. It's awesome. So that's another idea. Moving on. This that hit the floor. There we go. Put back in there. This is basically a heavy duty file folder. And what I did was I cut it out. I took some acrylic paints and it was black and whites. I scored for my spine, painted this, and then I've put together some signatures. And it is a combination of gel prints, magazine pages, drawing pages, some grid paper, just whatever I felt like having in it. So this one is actually ready to bind. And that will be kind of one of those note taking kind of things. Shiloh, hi, thank you. How was your trip, love? Slusher Antique, hello and welcome. So this is another idea, and this is, you know, those really heavy duty, it's like green. Here, I got one right here. They're just they have this, but they're heavy duty file folders. And I pick these up at Goodwill all the time. You're welcome. I'm glad you had a good time. So this is an idea that I mean, legit, guys, this is gel prints, regular, just whatever I have. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a journal. Now, this one is my art journal, and I usually make my art journals larger just because I'm creating art in them. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to go up a little bit higher because this is bigger. Um, so what this is, it's an old book, and rather than pull the pages out like we did with the Reader's Digest books, I just went through and pulled out some of the pages. So this is where I do my art. Let me go back to where there's no art in it. Crapola Town. Okay, so like here. So basically what I do is I pull a few pages, and I'm going to show you in a book that's not done. I glue 2 pages together and then I gesso them. So what it does is it creates a canvas for me to create on, whether I'm drawing, whether I'm painting, um, whether I'm doing a layout, however you look at it. Um, this is how I like to art journal. These are that's a whole lot here. I'll show you. It's really funny. I did this a year ago today. Literally. I pulled this out to show you and I was like, "Oh my gosh. This is what I was doing exactly 1 year ago while I was stressed out for Christmas." So, it's funny that today, stressed out, this is what I gravitated to. Um, so yeah, it literally started this whole thing. And I have this is journaling over here. This whole side is journaling, but it literally started with me drawing this and painting this tree. And then I saw a face over here, and then I'm like, "Oh, I love Alice in Wonderland," and then the music, and it just kinda spread out. And I've got the tea party, some sketching, and then I just put a saying here. So this is how I like to art journal, and I know you don't see this very often out of me, but this is my downtime. This is what I do to de-stress myself. And this book, I actually covered. Thank you, love. You're the bestest. I actually covered it with one of the old it's like one of the large placemats that I get all the time. and it's pulling up because I mean, I've worked in this obviously a lot. This was my 24 journal. So, and I stopped at Christmas, but I have all these pages that I can create in if I want to. So, there's that. So, discussing of books. Shiloh, thank you. Bounce Cat, hello. We're going to plug Tam's phone in so it doesn't die again. And we're going to talk about books. So, I prefer to have a book that I can take. Let me get one out of here because I've got bazillions in here. Where I can take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, fold it in half, and these are my pages. Because what that does is it eliminates a lot of work. And as you all know, the ones that did the Reader's Digest book, we had to cut down all the pages. So when I'm looking for a book to use, I like to find one that these pages are going to fit in it. Is that going to be a large margin? Absolutely. But I can do tabs, I can do embellishments, I can do whatever I want on the edges, and that gives me some space. Um, Another thing that I like is that this is raised. So when I cover it with fabric, I can push that down in there and it has these raised marks. Am I going to use this book? Absolutely not. This is a classic leather bound book, but I wanted to show you because this one is really easy to see. Another good point to this, they're beautiful. And that's what I look for when I'm in the thrift stores is those raised spines. Another thing that I look for, I'm going to show you, you can see if you go to this is such a pain. If you go to here, I can see that the bookmark was glued in. It has this, but I want to go to the center and see, does it have stitching or is it just glued in? Because if I'm altering it and it's just glued in, my pages are going to fall out. Does that make sense? I don't want my pages falling out. If they're sewn in, then I have more space to manipulate said book. This is a beautiful book. I like the font in it, but it is a glued spine because when I go to the middle of a signature, the pages just will pull out because they're just glued in. So a glued spine is good. If you're just going to use the cover, you cut out the book block, you've got your covers and you've got something to run with. And then you have all of these gorgeous pages that you can use in different projects. So they both serve their purpose. The other thing that you want to think of is how big of a book do you want? I have found, thank you, you're welcome for what they do. Um, if I get too big of a book, I end up, oh, I didn't even. Will that work on a book? Oh, okay. No, not really. So what I've done is I've chosen one. This has, I want to say like a, yeah, 1 3/8 ish. It's not Normally I use 1.5, but if you use the stitch pages and you're gluing on them, how are you compensating for more bulk? That's what I'm getting ready to show you, Shiloh. So I'm going to leave this all intact here, and I'm going to go to the center. And I'm going to find an X-Acto knife that's not going to kill me. And what I'm going to do is I'm like legit at the center of the book, okay? And you go to the center and you get your X-Acto knife underneath those threads and you just cut them. So by cutting these, there's a couple of things we're going to do with this book. I'm leaving some of the pages in, but I'm also going to, we're deconstructing a book. This is a sewn binding, and we're going to start working on some journals for the new year. So once you've come in and you've cut all of your threads, if you're careful, you can literally pull these out as one large piece. So I'm going to pull. Now, usually what happens with these, and you don't really know till you get there, I like to pull one at a time so I don't rip anything. These are really good to use as signatures to put in your book. They're good to use for pockets. So I like to keep as many of these intact as possible. But what happens is when we get close to the next signature, let me see if this one is. Sometimes, yep, they will glue them between the signatures. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. The other thing that you can do, I'm going to show you another way too in a different signature. This just doesn't want to come out. And this may not want to come out all in one piece, but it did. So see where I got down here? We're up against the next signature and it's glued in. So I'm just going to leave that. So these two pages are literally glued together. So I'll come in and glue these. And I've already started removing some of the bulk. I'm going to leave probably the next signature intact, but how I find the center is I look, where are these pages up here? Where's the center of this? Welcome in, everyone. Lost Mermaid, AK Mom, Babs, and Puzzles Creations. This is really hard to do in the camera, my friends. Okay, so we have found the center. So this is the center of the next signature. These are my stitches. I'm going to leave these intact, okay? However, I need to take probably half the pages out of this. So I need to remove some pages, but I don't want to mess with these stitches because I don't want everything to fall out. So I'm going to go away from the center a couple of pages, and I'm going to take, excuse my reach, I'm going to take my straight edge here and figure out where I set that X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to cut out a couple of pages. Are we going to do this for me, or are we going to act a fool because we're on camera? So I'm just cutting along this line. And I'm going to remove just some pages. Let's do 3 just for funsies. So what's going to happen here is I have this funky spine. So what I'm going to do with how I'm going to deal with that is these 2 pages will be glued together. Not that one because I cut through it. To hide this, these 2 pages are going to be glued together. So I still have the integrity of the stitches on either side, but I've removed some of that bulk. And as I go through and cut stuff, I just paper clip the ones that I need, that I know I'm going to need to glue together. So is this making sense? And so see, I've already created quite a bit of space for myself in here, and I'm just going to work. I usually work from the front of the book, but I wanted to show you the center and how I found it. Super helpful. Shiloh, Maria, I'm so glad. I was like, I don't know if I've ever really just shown this and explained it before. I know I show you my books that I make, but I don't think I've ever really shown the process of how I get there. So at the very front of the book, because this binding is tight, I'm struggling to find my stitches. And maybe I don't want to mess with this. Or maybe I do. Where is it at? Where are you, my friend? And this may be one of the books where they really glued the front in. Oh, there you are. You're just buried. I'd have only done the one journal, so this is helpful. Maria, that's awesome. So I found my stitches. It took a little bit because this is really tight by the front of the book. So again, and this is going to be a little bit more work, but I want to cut these strings so I can pull some of these pages out. And what in the world? And get rid of some of this tightness. And you can use as many or as few pages as you want in a journal. See how I'm just getting underneath there? I may or may not be able to save these pages because this is really tight. Why is this not cutting? Wants to fight me. There we go. Gracious. Should be sorting socks. I did my laundry this morning. I braved Walmart because I realized that I needed butter to make cinnamon rolls. I was like, no. Everybody's packages were dropped off at the post office. And again, we're just going to pull some of these pages out. Now, I keep all of these pages because they're going to make beautiful pockets, because this is a really, I don't know if you can see the texture in the camera, but it's a cotton rag paper. So, Viv, I've been sorting and organizing waste for the past 3 days. Ooh. I mean, ma'am, I have a weakness for laces and trims. So I'm just going to keep pulling until I hit the one that is glued. And I think that's the next one. So these are glued down. I'm pretty sure. Nope, one more. Okay. So these 2 pages are going to get glued together to cover up all of this rigmarole. And you can trim these down before you go in and glue them. It doesn't matter. You can leave them. It kind of just comes down to how pristine do you want your book. You know what I mean? I'm going to be throwing a lot of gesso and paint and all the things at it. So I'm not too concerned with that as far as that goes. So we've done this and we're just going to go to the next one. So I pulled pages out of this one. So I'm going to cut pages out of the next one. So wherever that center may be. So again, I'm finding my center, and this is still stiff with the stitches. So you can see the threads in there. You don't want to cut here. You want to go 1 or 2 pages. We'll just go 1. And then again, grab your straight edge and your X-Acto, and we're going to cut some pages. And I'm kind of cutting this direction because I don't want to accidentally grab those threads. If I do, it's not a huge deal. I went way off that. There we go. It's not a huge deal, honestly, because we're just creating some space in here to create. If you cut through the pages and you need to fix that, that's okay. So these 2, because it has all of this in here, are going to be glued together. And that's going to cover that up, and it's going to just put it in the middle of your page, and nobody's ever going to see that. Oh, no, we're not, because that one's pulling. See, I cut through part of that. So you just have to be kind of careful of it. This one cut. A little bit. So because I've kind of cut through this, I'm just going to go ahead and put my straight edge in there, and I'm going to tear the rest of it out. So I finally get to a page that's not cut, and there we go. So again, I took my time getting this started so it'd go on YouTube, Karen. Thanks for checking for me. I was hoping. So this one, we cut pages. So the next one, we're going to pull pages. So we need to find those middle stitches. And I don't know if you can see right in here, the rounded edges. It kind of gives you a guide to where that center is. It's not exact science. But you can kind of see right here where that center is. It should be right here. See how that opens up? that's the center, and this is one signature. So again, we're going to go in with our X-Acto, and we're going to cut stitches. And you maneuver this however is safe for you. The more you take out, the easier it gets to cut these, which is why I started in the middle, because the middle's easier. Got that. And you just maneuver it. Sometimes it takes some muscle. Got that. Okay, so we got them all cut. Everything's cut. So I'm just going to carefully start pulling these pages out. And if they rip, it's okay. But if they don't, they make awesome pages in other journals. You can put a washi tape. You can put a some bookbinding tape. You can use masking tape. There's bazillions of possibilities of how to make these stronger. But I just love having this paper. So you cut stitches and pull out pages, and you cut the pages out on the glued ones. No, kind of. Viv asked, so you cut stitches and pull out pages, and you cut the pages out on the glued ones. So what these are not, this whole book is stitched. So I'm doing every other signature. Like I cut stitches and pulled pages. And then the next one, I just cut a few. And then now we are pulling. And what that does with the ones that we cut, or I'm sorry, with the ones that we pull, I'm pulling all of the center pages until we get to the glued portion. Because when the signatures sit beside each other, they usually put a line of glue between the two signatures here. So those pages I'm leaving intact because that's the outside pages of the signatures are glued together, usually in a sewn book. I hope that made sense. So I'm just going to keep pulling until I get to that outside page in this. And what this does is it lessens the bulk. So when you add your tags and pockets, okay, so we're there. So see, I've pulled all the pages. This is the outside of that signature, but the front and the back of it is glued to the signature next to them. So I don't want to mess with those because I don't want to mess with the integrity of my book. So because I pulled this one, I'm just going to go a couple of pages. So what's going to happen is these two pages are going to be glued together when I make my book. Sorry. So I'm paper clipping that. And then I'm going to go in the next signature. And let's say I glue these two pages together for a layout. I glue these two pages together for a layout. And then I'm going to pull a couple of pages to give me some space. Because if you don't give yourself space, they're going to start getting really bulky. Exactly. Yes, Maria. So what that means is we're creating art on the pages that are left here. You can do tip-ins like we learned to do, but you don't need to bind pages in here. You are utilizing the pages that are already here. Right now, we're just making space so we can add art and decorate. Way down here, do I always get wonky? I like leaving my metal ruler here so I don't cut myself, but sometimes it's in my way. So these pages I'm cutting out, these are going to be pockets. These are going to be tags. These pages, just like with the other book that we did, will get used. So because we have all of this cut edge here, these two pages are going to get glued together, most definitely. Paper clips. Man, where did all my paper clips go? Okay, so those two. And then we have one. Let's see how much we have left in here. I'm going to leave the rest of this and go to the next signature, but see how much room we've made in here to create art. It's amazing. We're going to go to the next signature. And you can, if you want to, cut more pages out as you're going through your book, making stuff. If you find that it starts getting bulky, nothing says, you guys have seen me just start ripping pages out, okay? If it's getting too bulky, oh, this is beautiful. Now it's loosening up. You can cut more pages to create more space. I think my problem is this will not stay tightened. So again, I'm going to just cut through these stitches. And this is, go slow. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're just having a little play in the art room. We're holiday de-stressing for a minute, and then we have to go back. Molly, hi babe, how are you? Are you working this week? So again, I've cut all these stitches, so I'm just going to carefully pull these pages out. Did I not get that one cut all the way through? Yeah, it just didn't come. So we have these pages intact that we can use for other projects. And I'm going to keep. That is so amazing. I'm so happy for you. I got your message the other night and it was so late when I finally saw it. I didn't want to message you, but I'm so happy for you. Makes my heart happy. Tina, welcome. Baker Chick, hi, how are you doing? We're deconstructing a book. I know. You deserve it, love. Mm. And if you question where you're at with this, if you're getting close to those glued edges, which I am, so now that it's opening up, you can see the front and the back of this signature is actually glued to the next signatures. Tell Hubs I said hello, Karen. And happy holidays. So because we did all this, this one's going to get glued together. Bam. So now we're back to where we were at. with this. Here we cut pages. So see how much room we've made just at the front of the book? So we cut pages. So this side, we're going to pull pages. And see how much easier it is to see where that center is? Bam. How about we get a safer X-Acto knife that's not going to spin and go crazy? Yes, it is, Molly. Isn't that exciting? I worked really hard to get that going correctly. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to come join our chat, if you click right up here, let me unpin this to make it a little bit better. If you click on the right there on your screen on YouTube, you can come join us on Whatnot and join in on our chat. I know, right? I don't know how long I'm going to be on. This is probably going to end up being a 5-part process, but I wanted to at least give you an idea of what books to look for. So as we work in our journals and create over the next month, you have an idea of what kind of a book you want. If you want to just add signatures in, just get a pretty cover. If you want to do some work and glue some pages together and gesso and do all of those things, you can do what I'm doing here. It's really honestly, it's what is the purpose of your journal and what are you comfortable with? I think I'm close to the glued one. I am right next to the glued one. Okay. Hi, Mary. How are you, my friend? I'm glad you're feeling better. So, this is where there's glue. So, we're going to grab the front and the back. Now, see what happened here? I only left one page between these that need to be glued and this. So, depending upon how this falls, I might very well glue 3 pages together because that's a pretty large gap. And as I'm gluing stuff, I'll figure that out because I don't want a single page. Or, let me back up. The other option is I could add like a really pretty scrapbook paper or a printable on here and just have this stand alone. Does that make sense? Because this is pretty thick cotton paper. We should be okay with it. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives me 2 pages there. Let's cut. Yeah, you do. There's so many options here. So I'm going to cut some of the pages. I know I didn't grab my metal ruler. Now, if you notice I'm not cutting down, I'm cutting to the side so I can leave, so I don't accidentally catch those stitches. If you're comfortable with an X-Acto knife, you absolutely do not have to use the metal ruler. You absolutely do not want to cut those stitches because once those stitches are cut, it's game over. Everything's going to start falling apart. So when I do this, where I cut deeper down here, I will take my metal ruler and I will use it to tear the top portion of this page. Just doesn't want to come out. And is this one cut? Slightly. So I'm going to pull that one out too. Did you hear that? Hi, Jeannie. We are deconstructing a book to make an art journal. So we've cut pages here. So we've got these little edges. So these 2 pages we're going to glue together to cover that up. So then we're going to go to the next. We have quite a few pages here, but that's okay. I can take some of these out later if I need to. We're going to go to the next signature and find the center. Come on. We're back to that whole tightness. Athena, hello, love. How are you? We're deconstructing a book. Okay, so there's the 2 signatures together. So our center should be in here somewhere. One more page, Tim. How are you today, darling? You took a class on bookbinding by hand. It was hard. You took pages of your artwork and hand bound them into a book. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. That's pretty much what I'm teaching here. I like using old books that need a new life. Finally found that center. This one. Yes. The Boop Troop. Absolutely. Athena, if you're not following Mary, give her a follow. She makes beautiful jewelry. Like, oh my gosh, beautiful jewelry. Crazy beautiful jewelry. And she's also a friend of mine that I've met in real life. Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, here we go. So we're back to another center. So we're back to cutting. And when you find your center, you can see the stitches. You had to go to Gettysburg to buy special thread at a fabric store that sold Civil War reenactment fabrics. Oh, that is so cool, Jamie. What kind of special thread did you have to get that you had to drive all the way to Gettysburg? I know, babe. Guys, Mary lost her voice, and so she hasn't been able to go live. But she will be back in January. And then at the end of January, she's coming to Arizona, so I get to see her again. I'm so excited. As some kind of bookbinding thread, it might have been waxed. Nice. Yeah, I like using the waxed linen thread. Is my favorite for binding books. But I've also made books with cotton thread. I've made books with embroidery thread that I've waxed myself. Yeah, I'd be curious. Oh, I wonder if they're in here. Rob? I don't know if he's still in the house or if he's in his woodworking room.
The lady YouTube is really long.
I'm sure. In the tote in front of the pantry, would you grab me that bag of beads? The black and white beads. Jeannie just popped in. I want to show her. I'd rather show her live than the pictures. Because, yeah. Okay, I think we're to the part that's glued. Yes. So again, this is the center of our signature. The outside pages are glued to the next signature. So see where we're at? We've got lots of room to play. But we also, I feel like we missed a signature back here. I don't know how we would have done that, but it looks like we did. So let's take these two pages and we are going to pin that and time out. I want to show Jeannie something. Thank you, love.
I had seen these earlier. I don't know if
Those are too little for what she's doing.
I wasn't sure if she needed that size or not.
Jeannie, look what I found in my stash. So there's black, white, gray. I know. I like these much better than the ones that you got. So, anyhow, I have all of these. Obviously, we don't need to deal with this till after Christmas because that's a pain. But I wanted to let you know that I have these, and you just let me know how many of each color you want. But I wanted to show them to you because, you know. And I figured it doesn't matter that they're kind of grungy because you're going to paint them anyway. So there's sidebar, guys. Oh, for the whole bag? I don't know, like $20. That's a lot of beads, man. That's like a plethora of beads. Okay. I'll throw them, I know I was calculating like, I will, get a weight on them because they're heavy. There's a lot. Yeah, let's do it after the holidays. Okay, so we were back here and I have a ton of pages in here and I think I missed cutting some out. So we have this. We're going to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm going to cut some of these out just to give us some more room in here because that's a lot. Is anybody creating with me? Is anybody creating? That would be the good question. Are you listening to me creating? Are you destructing a book with me? What do you have going on, my friends? Again, I'm avoiding that spine because I don't want to accidentally cut into those threads. And we know that we're going to cover those edges by gluing pages together. Judy, no, I'm sorry. Gabby, kind of, I'm clearing out my desk for crafting later. Awesome. Athena, I just finished a bracelet, now relaxing, watching you tear apart a book. That's awesome. Shiloh. I'm sitting in a parking lot watching and listening intently, wishing I was at my desk. So, Shiloh, it went to YouTube. So, you can actually go back and watch it on YouTube. Mary's still sorting wire. I can't wait to get some of that wire from you, Mary. I'm kind of excited about that because I've been using a lot of it lately. It's my YouTube channel is Tam's Creative Journey. It's all one word. And when Whatnot's working, of our demos, I multicast over there as often as I can when I'm doing demos. There's some old beading tutorials over there, but for the most part, yeah, go to YouTube and put in Tam's Creative Journey, all one word, and you'll be able to go back and watch the whole thing. Rob said it's really lagging, but I mean, it's there. If you have patience with it, you'll be able to see what we're doing and start from the beginning. Because in the beginning, I explained how I chose my books and what I was using them for. So, see how we have, I'm going to take this up close, where we have all these page edges where I just cut. I didn't cut into the stitches.
Let me just clarify. It's not, the video is not laggy. Like you're still talking.
Okay.
It's smooth. It's just.
Oh, it's just uploading slowly.
Slowly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Quite a delay, actually.
Perfect. So we have this raw edges. So when I go in to prep my book, I'm going to make sure that I glue these two together so that's hidden within my page. Jeannie, cool. I've watched because I have to go make biscuits for dinner. My daughter and hubby are on the way here from Nashville. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. Guys, if you go watch these on YouTube, can you just leave me a comment and let me know that you were there? I'm still figuring out YouTube. I know that sounds crazy. And sometimes I forget to try to find the comments, but it's always good to know that my friends are there supporting me. Look at how much room we have. Oh, okay. We have one more signature to do. So this one, we pulled all the pages. So I think the back one, we're just going to cut some out. So when you get to the back, I don't want to cut this because that's part of the structure of the book. It's called the fly page. So that's going to stay. That's going to stay. I'm probably, just for stability, going to glue these two together. Hi, Joy. And then I want to have, so those two are together. So I want to this direction, to that direction, to that direction. And I'm going to do two more that direction. So I need an extra one to glue to these. So again, I'm just going to cut these pages. You can cut them. And if you look, when I'm cutting, I'm going sideways. I'm not going into the spine with my knife. I'm going sideways and I'm leaving like a 1/4 inch at this edge because I want to be able to maintain the integrity of those stitches so my book isn't falling apart. And like I said, if you're not comfortable with an X-Acto knife going straight, you can use a straight edge for this. The other option is you can take your straight edge, lay it against your page, and you can tear it out. If I could get the right angle under the camera. So here, where all of this jagged edge is, these two pages are going to be glued together to hide that. Bam. So, look what we have. We have lots of room to create. We can still take more out if need be, but this is a really good start. I chose this book because it has the linen cover. I like the linen covers. I may decide to cover it. I know, right? I may decide to cover it later, but it's green linen. How can you go wrong with that? So that's where we're at. I'm looking in here and I'm seeing I could probably pull more pages in here and in here if I need to as I get going. But here's, I'll show you. This is kind of a mess because I was just tossing them over. This is what we just pulled out. So we have all of these pages to create pockets, to create journaling spots, all the things that we want to create. We have with one book pretty much everything that we need to do these things. Isn't that awesome? So the ones that I pulled out, I will keep separate from the ones that I tore or cut out because they'll be used for different things. You don't have to do this. You can just use your pages willy-nilly, however you want to do it. One of the beautiful things about making true junk journals is there aren't any rules. You can glue your grocery receipt in here for all I care. It is a way for you to make art that you're comfortable with and just be free to create. It's amazing. I'm pulling these folded pages. The fun part about these folded pages, if we don't end up using all of them, they make great pages in our other journals. Yeah, I know. So we're going to set these aside. And I think, yeah, we've got time to do that. I don't want to get this video too long because YouTube starts getting kind of cray-cray about that. So when I glue my pages together, usually what I will do is, I stuck these back here for a reason. No, I can't find them. I dropped Jeannie's beads on the floor. I like to use like a wax paper or a parchment paper. And the reason I want to do that is I don't want to glue something together that I don't intend to glue together. So we're just going to start at the front with the first one that I paper clipped. I am going to lay a piece of wax paper in here. And in here, I'm going to unclip this. I'm going to open this up. And remember how I said you can cut these threads out if you want to. You can leave them. It is 100% up to you what you do here. I'm going to use, if I can get to it, a matte medium as my glue. You can use PVA glue. You can use probably you can use a solvent glue like your 3-in-1 glues. If you use your tacky glue for this, it will work, but I will tell you that you're going to get more page warping with that. So you're going to need an old brush. I have a designated brush that I use for my gesso and my matte medium, just because I don't want to, it's not heavy enough. How's this for the old days, my friends? Why don't I have a card here that doesn't have stuff on it? That one doesn't. It's a music club. Zia Records is a secondhand music store here in Arizona, so this we can use. All right, make sure we're in frame so you can see what I'm doing. When I do my glues, my matte medium, of course it's glued shut because why wouldn't it be? I want to make sure that I have these in my spine because I don't want it to go and glue pages together accidentally. Of course, I get one that's halfway empty. So I'm just going to put some down. Maybe. There we go. It may be too much. That's okay. I'm going to spread it. And I want to make sure I get it down in where those threads are because I don't want bubbles. This is a way lot. I get that. But for me, and you may hate this, I would rather have a mess and have everything glued down than not have enough glue and have to go back and do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to start with the spine. Where can I set this? This is kind of hard to do on a camera. Live and learn. But what I want these pages to do is I want them to meet up, okay? So however that is, let's try this way. I'm pulling this, and what I'm doing is I'm taking up that space, and I'm trying to get these as even as possible. Are they going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But what's going to help me here is this credit card, and I'm going to push and kind of manipulate that. And what's getting me right now is all the paper clips up here. So if you have never done this before, you may want to remove the paper clips before you do this. And so see how I have this all? And what it has done, it has contained those pages in here as I pull it apart. But now you have one solid page to create on. Hi, Wendy. How are you, love? I just stuck my hand in the glue. So then I'm going to go to the other side with my card. And I'm just going to make sure everything is flat over here with no wrinkles. And so now I've just created a page. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to go to the next one that I have paper clipped here, and I'm going to rinse and repeat. I want to get glue down in that where those pages are. Gluing papers together makes stronger. Yes, we totally deconstructed a book to make an art journal, and we are working on gluing the pages together. And once you get all the pages glued together, depending upon what you're going to do with it, for me, I'll go back in and gesso my pages. But that's just me. I like having my pages gessoed so they're stronger. You may not worry about that. You may be going to use scrapbook papers and printables and all of those. And if you do, you're not going to need gesso. I want to make sure that I get glue all the way up to the edges. No, I did not put wax paper down because that humongous glob of paint or just matte medium we had that landed on my other piece, and I don't want to stop in the middle. So again, I'm just manipulating this down to cover this up, but to try to make the edges meet. And oh my god, guys, I got so much glue here, it's insane. Get out of my way. If you have this going on, you can maneuver it from side to side and try to get the pages evened up. I may have waited too long to do that because I'm over here babbling. But what I'm doing is I'm just using my card to pull those pages out. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be wrinkled. It's going to be a little bit wonky. I'm okay with that. Sarita, hi love, how are you? Deborah, how are you? So like there's a lot of glue in there apparently because it just came flying out. And this is why you have the wax paper between the pages. Yeah, I got that about as good as that's going to get. But you see what I'm doing here is I'm just creating these pages that we can create art on. So these are glued together. Now I can go back and decide, do I really want 1, 2, 3, 4 pages in here, or do I want to take a couple of those out? And that's the beauty of making your own, because you can sit here, let me get this wax paper out of the way, and you can decide, do I want a ton of smaller pages? Do I want space for more journaling? Do I, what do you want to do with your book? So I have all of these that I can create with, and I don't have to decide right now. What I want done right now is to get these pages that have all of that cut stuff up here glued in. That's my goal right now. I don't want my pages to glue together. Viv, yeah, I will. I usually do a Tuesday art room show, and it was just time for us to get a new journal to work on because we did one with a altered Reader's Digest book, and it is ridiculously full right now, and to the point I just don't even want to mess with it anymore because it's so full. So it was time to get a new book, and I usually make new books at the beginning of the year anyway. So we put that there. Is anything sticking to the first one I did? No, I did the first one rather clean. So we're going to go this way. I got glue everywhere. I need some more wax paper. I didn't plan to do this many today. Usually what I'll do is I will have my wax paper pre-cut and ready to go. So I can just do the whole book. So I'll have like, I don't know, 10, 20 of these cut. So you do however you want to do it. I cut the wax paper just so you can see. I cut it so it hangs out over the edge of the book. So if I have glue seeping out, it's caught by the wax paper. And I'll just go through and, like I said, maybe 10, 20 of these before I do a book. Do I have other ones already cut? Yes, I do. Do I have them in front of me? No, I don't. So I'm putting one on each side of the glued pages. So they're covered and they don't stick to the rest of my pages. And I'm going to flip back and go to the next one that's paper clipped. And I am going to put a page of wax paper here. And then I'm going to put a page of wax paper on the other side. So I'm protecting my book from becoming a disaster like that just did. And we're going to see if I have another thing of matte medium up here. I do. Okay, this is a good thing. Ruby stalled in time. Rubu, welcome. How are you all doing today? Okay, so these are the strings from where we pulled the pages. You are more than welcome to snip those out and make them nice and neat. But at the end of the day, your pages are going to be glued together and nobody's going to see them. Only you will know they're there. So we are going to get some more matte medium. That may or may not be enough. And I'm going to get it in that spine where those stitches are. I want to smooth that out. I want to go all the way to the edges here. My wax paper is protecting my book. It's okay. There was ink on there. It's spreading all the way to the edges. Hi, Mona. How are you, love? So we're all the way to the edges on these. Just over there. I'm going to take this page and again, I'm going to pull it tight because I want to try to match these edges up as best as possible. So I am going to pull this over because remember we got a lot of stuff in the middle there and it gets kind of wonky sometimes. But it's best to do this when the glue's wet and not try to fix it later. So I'm holding this edge up and I'm using my card to pull this out. Yeah, those paper clips are just a pain right now. Okay, we're gonna have to get rid of the paper clips because they're not working out. They're making bumps and my pages aren't going flat. So then I'm gonna take this and flip it over. Make sure my wax paper's in there and do that on the other side. And so I'm just trying to work this as flat as humanly possible. Does that make sense? I got a crazy wrinkle up here. I don't know why, but it is what it is right now. So there we have that. You would love to see a completed one? Sure. I showed the completed ones at the beginning. But so you get this idea. I'm kind of going to let those set for a minute. And I will show you my art journal from 24. I used a larger book and I covered it with one of the placemats. Like you get a pad of placemats. I covered it with this. I've also done them with wallpaper and then I've also left them raw. So this is one that I did. So once I get all of this done, this is really big, so it's kind of hard to see. I glue the pages together and then I gesso them. So I have them for art layouts. Yeah, I do mixed media. I do drawing. This is like one of my favorites. This, oh my gosh, this gluey thing is making a disaster over here. Hold on one second. I just got glue all over this. All over my desk. I've been working on some projects, so my desk is kind of a mess. Margaret, thank you. Yes. Fellow mixed media artist. I love it so much. So, I don't know if I have this here or not. Anywho, this was the layout that I did exactly 1 year ago today. Crazy. So, I was pulling these out and I find it funny that I decided on this day last year I needed to throw some paint at a journal. And then this year I decided I need to throw some paint at a journal on the exact same day. So, this is like mixed media. I like to draw faces. I like to do stencils. Um, this is like a playing around with different things with masterboards. This is my place to play. Okay. This is not, people don't normally see this kind of stuff. I just do it for me. Margaret, thank you for that. Um, this is a place for me to de-stress. This is my safe place. It's not a painting for the wall. It's not, and this is part of Tuesdays is Mental Health Tuesdays. We do a lot of exercises to help with mental health and do all of the things. But one of the main things that I can say about this is um, I have a journal that I've made like this that I literally swatch new colors in. Um, just because I'm beyond, I can't do anything. I can swatch colors. It's one of my favorite things. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Creative people don't have a mess, they have ideas lying around everywhere. That's kind of my life right there. So, but this was one that I just did with like one of the old napkins and an old book. Um, I know I showed these in the beginning, but I'm just gonna flip back through them. So anybody can make a journal. Okay. Um, this is one that I used a tissue paper and I bound signatures in. They're just a menagerie of gel prints, random. So I have a place to write. There's that kind of a book. Um, this is this is like a hodgepodge journal because there's a whole thing. This is one of the ginormous National Geographic. I did a beaded spine. Um, but when I bound and I pulled everything out of this one. Um, oh, Margaret, I'm the gel. They call me the gel print queen. I demo it very frequently. Actually, we did it last week. Did that one go to YouTube? Does anybody know? It may be on my YouTube channel, but if you book my Atelier raid train that's coming up in January, every month I demo gel prints for that raid train. I do it all the time. So awesome. Thank you. This one, I wanted a place to do all the things. Okay. Um, I did art classes, I do note taking, I do sketching, I play with new pencils. Um, this is just like, and I put all different papers in here. There's lined, oh, you can't see it. There's lined paper to take notes. This is a gessoed, no, it's not. This is watercolor, gel prints. This is, I was playing with colors. I was doing color mixing. Um, this is just some tissue paper. Again, book pages that are gessoed. This book is just like my hodgepodge. Oh, look, we have paper bags, grocery sacks. The moon. We love the moon around here. Music. But you see what I'm saying. Um, you can put whatever you want in a book. And for me and my brain, if I have a pristine journal, I avoid it like the plague because it's boring. But when I can throw all of this in here and I can flip through and I can go, oh, here's some drawing paper. I feel like sketching faces. Or, oh, here's some watercolor paper. I want to play with some watercolors. Here's an old printable that was, I don't know what happened to it. But anywho, um, I have paper that I can write notes. This is my favorite kind of journal, and I don't often show them on here just because you never know what I'm going to flip to, because I may have journaling from 6 months ago in the middle of one of these pages because I couldn't sleep and I got up in the middle of the night and started writing. And this was the first thing I grabbed. You know what I mean? I do have my daily journal that I kind of brain dump in, that's kind of consecutive dates, but this kind of stuff is just a hodgepodge. What is this? Sketchbook Revival. It was a study with Jeannie Oliver, drawing with Stabilo and gesso. That's all this is. This is a Stabilo pencil and gesso. Um, I was bored. That's what I was bored. I was probably watching somebody. Um, Faces are like my go-to. This is what was this one? This is a Tony class, where we did, line art, more line art with watercolors. This is an old book page that I, tipped in here with, washi tape, because I literally grabbed a page of a magazine and just started sketching, and then I decided to watercolor, and it's like, well, crap, I want it in my book. So tip in, done. Um, when the mood takes me, I will draw in anything. I'm not picky. These are pristine, pretty books. This was a class I taught on tab journals. I'm not a huge fan of them, but somebody wanted to learn how to do it. So this is a tab journal. This is a textured fabric that I covered it with. Obviously, I didn't finish it, but yeah. Not a huge fan of the tab journals, but it was a class I taught. So there's that. This one. This is here. This is, well, maybe I used it a little bit. I did. I used it a smidge. Um, this is all watercolor paper. I just wanted something that would hold a whole bunch of watercolor paper, because I knew I wasn't going to do mixed media in it. And so this is scrapbook paper doubled. Yeah, I like these too. The problem with this is that it's just, see, I get bored and I start. This is how much of this I've used. Okay. Will I grab this and play with it? Yeah, because it's in my brain now, because I pulled it off the shelf and I'm like, oh, yeah, I've got that watercolor book over there I could play with. So it's pretty. It's a thing. This was, we were doing, um, I volunteered as an instructor at I can't even open this because let me get away from the notes. Okay, I'll go to the next one. So these are just basic signatures with paper. I volunteered at an art center for kids that are in foster care. And so that was a whole thing. And I had to have a place to keep my notes that were safe, but that would make me look more cool than I really am to the young kids. So I use bright colors, which is totally not me. Yeah, there's still some grunge there, but um, this is for me to keep tabs on that. Let me see what Maria's sending me. Nice. See, this is what I do. You do your art and you send me pictures. Maria made these. Did you make these while we were sitting here talking, Maria? Have I really been on that long? Here we go. Journals. Christmas gifts. My friend Maria. Um, Maria found me through my beading and teaching beadwork, and I have since corrupted her into paper crafting. So that is awesome. I'm so late been doing homework. Alice, you are very good, my friend. This is on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it, which you need to do. So, all of this, this is what I love to do. I'm proud of you, my friend. So proud of you. All right, my friends, we have, let's see where our journal is. If it's dry enough that I can take these out and move along. See how these are starting to stick together because I got glue kind of wonky. Just gonna go through and make sure this one's pretty dry. Yes, my YouTube is Tam's Creative Journey, all one word. There's no spaces in it. And this is currently streaming to YouTube. So you can go back and watch from the beginning how I explained how I deconstruct a book, what to look for in getting a book to deconstruct. You're very welcome. Thanks for asking, Paint Chica. Um, and again, it's what is your intention with your book? If you want to do pretty printables and look, I said that without a sneer because I love printables. It's just not a junk journal. Um, if you want to play with printables and do that kind of stuff, then this probably isn't for you. Excuse me. You want to go to the playlist where we did the other book and just tear your book apart and start with your printables. Notice that we have some bubbling in here, and I didn't get that all the way out. For me, I'm okay with that because all that's going to do for me is create texture in whatever mixed media I do here. And I mean, sometimes we work really hard to get texture that sweet. If that is not what you are looking to do, then you can be a lot more careful with it. I did say I was going to pull all these out before I did more pages. So we're just going to recap. I have paper clipped together the pages where we pulled, whether we cut or whether we actually pulled, and there's raw edges here. So what we're doing is going through and gluing those pages together so it covers up those raw edges. Do you have to do that? Absolutely not. You can just leave them as is and put this as part of your design. That's totally up to you. You do whatever you are comfortable with because, again, this is your place to play, okay? And I want to reiterate that there is no right or wrong. Um, if you tell me you can't draw a stick person, I don't need you to. I need you to be able to pick up a paintbrush and squeeze some paint out on your page. That's all I need you to do. Same name, all one word. Yes. We are live on YouTube right now, actually. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Leave me a comment. Let me know you're there because I can't see the chat there right now because I am live streaming on Whatnot. You are welcome to click the link in the upper right hand corner and join us on YouTube. Join us on Whatnot. Good Lord. But if you don't want to do that, please just leave me a comment and let me know you were there. I would appreciate it. I'm using a matte medium to glue these pages together, making sure that I'm going all the way to the edge, that I'm not missing anything. This is going to get all warbly. I am okay with that. Please understand if this drives you crazy, um, you can use a acetone based um, glue. So I'm pulling this, but I'm starting over here and I want to try to line up these pages as best as possible. Now remember that this is important to remember. We have all of this in this edge over here that we're trying to cover up, okay? So it's not going to be perfect by any means. I'm using a credit card. You can use a bone folder. You can use, some people use a butter knife, just something that's going to give you a flat surface. See how much glue I just pulled out of there? That's okay. I'm good with the extra glue. I want to make sure these edges get glued. And if you'll notice, I'm holding this straight up, so it kind of gives me a little bit more playroom to get this straight. Okay. Now I have wax paper between my pages so I don't make a disaster of my next pages behind this because I don't want that glue seeping in and gluing my pages together. Just going to make sure that none of that got through there. And we're just going to let that dry for a little bit because I had a ton of glue on that one. All good. Any questions, my friends? Every Tuesday afternoon, I come in the art room to play. We work in our journals. We do different things. We work on different projects, but always, always, always a safe place. And we try to work a lot on ways to use art to help your mental health. That was the whole reason that I started doing this on Tuesdays, so we could do that. Some of the things that we've been creating over the last couple of weeks is some ephemera that we can put in our journals and different ways that you can use your book pages, whether it's creating little tear off books, creating tags. These are all neutral because we don't know where they're going to go and what color scheme we have going on. But it was just a way to use up some of the leftover book pages that we had. This is an old card. You can use this as a pocket, as a journal spot, all the things. Last, when did we do this? I think this was last week or Friday. I don't remember. We started working on some clusters, and I was informed that I do them very differently than most people. So I I call them cluster rolls. I'm sure that there's a technical term for them, but I'm too old to worry about the newfound terms that y'all come up with these days. So this is just digging in my scrap drawer, really, and using up some book pages. We created, these were with a free printable kit by Tracy Fox. She's an amazing creator. Um, Again, we just did these little clusters on a strip of cotton. So, I do have some of this cotton left in the bin. It was, um, I'll back up if you're new to me. My husband and I do live crafty thrifting at Goodwill every Saturday. And one of the things that we found a few weeks ago was a gorgeous cotton duvet cover with, yes, it is, with a Margaret, yes, this went to YouTube as well. Um, just go dig through my lives and just kind of ignore all the nonsense because we go for 2 or 3 hours at a time. But it was a old cotton duvet cover with beautiful hand crocheted edging, and nobody wanted it. And I'm like, you guys are nutsoid. So I bought it for myself and I came home and I cut it down into 1 yard pieces so everybody could play with it. Yeah, they're clusters, but I do them on fabric. Um, we did these on some coffee dyed paper, pretty sure. So it's this, I like having this kind of stuff done. So when I go to decorate in my journals, I'm not starting from scratch and feel like I have to get out 1,000 things. I can just grab this and I can see my birdies. Thanks, Wendy. I can use this as a journaling card. I can put this in as a pocket. I can put a cluster on it. I I can put fabric, buttons, whatever, but it's good use of book pages. And most of my journals have book pages in it, so it all just kind of blends. Um, that's my thoughts. We also made some tickets out of some scraps. I showed how to do this, and I'm sure that's in a YouTube video somewhere as also. So this is just what I enjoy doing on Tuesdays. So I wanted to come on because, we have the holidays approaching, everybody's stressed, and I just wanted to give everybody an hour or two of downtime to just sit and think about what we want to do for our journals for January and what we're going to play with. So that was my whole point of this. If you missed the beginning of it, go back and watch the beginning so I can where I explain the different type of books and what to look for depending upon what you want to do with your journal. Um, I do have I'm not going to be on a lot in the next week because I have a lot going on, but I have Junk Journal Jamboree. Yes, I'm doing a braid train on a Saturday. I know I never go on weekends unless it's Rob and I thrifting. So I have Junk Journal Jamboree on January 3rd. So if you would bookmark that, it's going to be fun. It's basically, I think she called it the D Stash, but I'm actually creating stuff for it. And we will be doing auctioning off bundles of 5 items. And then instead of doing a giveaway, we are doing a medium flat rate priority box chock full of creative goodness. So you don't want to miss that because y'all know my D-stash level. Um, it's craziness. So that's going to be our fun. So does anybody have any questions before we find somebody to raid? And I apologize for my nails. They're hideous. I've been moving and reorganizing, and that's probably not going to happen before Christmas. But anywho, I had a choice between doing my nails and playing with y'all. And I figured I was going to destroy and playing with you all anyway. So I might as well just have ugly nails for the holidays. It's all good. Margaret, thank you for stopping by. Um, if you are really quickly before we do this, I want to look. Oh, you are a seller. Stop, Tamara. I love printmaking, collage, mixed media, drawing, painting, love ephemera, especially photos of awarding ladies wearing bead house horse people. Oh, yeah. We're gonna be good friends. Got it. We are very similar in what we do. I bet we're about the same age too. Alas, my coffee is cold. It's time to go have dinner. 58. So we're close. Yeah. Same mentality, right? That's awesome. All right, my friends. This is going to be the last time I'm on before the holidays. So, each and every one of you have a very safe and happy holiday. Please be kind to yourselves, take care of yourselves, enjoy the time that you have with your families. I appreciate all of you for being here, for supporting, for always coming to my shows and hanging out with me. It's a blessing to have made so many amazing friends. Um, where are we gonna go? Why not go to some junk journaling? Thank you very much. Maria, happy holidays. Wendy, Merry Christmas. Love you dearly, my friend. Maria, love you, dearling. Dearling, dearly. You are a blessing to us. You guys are a blessing to me. Y'all have kept my sanity over the last year. So much love to each and every one of you. We're going to go see some quilting, sewing, and fabric supplies, which none of us need, but we're going to go look anyway. I'm going to start selling fabric in January, so look for that. Have a blessed holiday. Love you all. Thank you if you're watching on YouTube. If you have any questions, please send me a message. Good night, everyone.